All right, so we are now taking a look at Inscalar, and I'm joined by Bart Moon. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing pretty fine, I guess.
Yeah, so there
I
was
was,
quite.
yeah,
Sorry,
I
go
was
ahead.
very glad to see you beating the game actually without any help. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I know that there was quite the journey behind this one, so I'm really glad that it all came together because I guess looking at the finished product, you would not know just how much anguish there was in going into making it.
Yeah, well, the atmosphere is quite dark, isn't it? Right? That had to like play part.
Yeah, so I guess because you had mentioned this to me as like one of the three ideas that you had for this particular jam, and I was saying like, "Ooh, that one sounds really cool. You should try doing that one." Um, but it wasn't quite so easy. Like you said, you had a few like failed prototypes before this one.
Yeah. Well, getting back to the very start of the jam,
Yeah.
because of the difference in the time zones for us, we started on like different times. But for me, it was only 1 hour difference between like UK time and mine.
Mhm.
So it was evening of Friday, and that evening I got something running that was similar, like it used the same movement system as this game, so part of it survived. uh, but the whole idea was completely different, and I spent this evening like prototyping that idea. I woke up in the morning and said, no, that idea won't work. Like I have no idea how to make puzzles for that. Let's try something different. And then I started prototyping a first person 3D game. So something completely different. I spent half of a day on like 3D uh, first person game, and then I was like, no, this doesn't work on technical level. Also, I don't really have that many puzzles in mind for that, and this is where this idea came from. It was already like 30 hours into the jam, uh, and actually prototyping this one uh, was also very hard because there is one big missing feature that commenters on each page already like pointed out.
Mm.
You can't see from the outside what's inside of the cube. So
Mm.
this feature was the basis of the idea that you can see it. And for some weird reason, I had a lot of technical difficulties with making it work. Then I had difficulties with making it look nice
Mm-hmm.
because I've had it like working just a little. It just didn't look very good. And for whatever reason, after, and it was already last day and I was still trying to prototype it, first that it would show the 3D world inside, then that it would just show the 2D camera view of the world inside, and I had it working. I just had to implement it for every cube that you could enter, and I decided, no, this 2D view looks bad, I'm dropping it. And next morning you can already like probably know what I thought about my decision. Like it, I have no idea really why I did that, but I did. And like the main feature that the whole idea for the game came from didn't make it to the final build. No idea what happened.
I mean, okay, I I still understand the principle. Like you have to make a bit of a leap of logic, and I think that it helped for me to know the basic concept of like you are entering and exiting these cubes. Um, so I guess with that primer in mind, it was possible for me to figure out what I needed to do. Because I don't think that it was strictly necessary for the the game. Like, obviously, it would have been nice to have that feature in, and it would have made the understanding of the mechanic easier. But I don't think it would have been the only thing. Like, that it's not impossible to deduce the functionality of the cubes without that.
Yeah, but overall, I feel like the theme of the jam is also lost a little bit because you don't see that it's actually, uh, sorry for it, words
Mm.
within words
Yeah, yeah.
in this game. So, and yeah, you actually mentioned it at some point while playing that you said something like, "Is this like I just exited this one?" And yes, this was like you actually begin in a cube,
Mhm.
you exit it, but it turns out you are still in another cube, and the last level is technically the only one that you are not inside of another cube. So yeah, this was the idea behind it, and the revelation at some point after the tutorial levels that wait, I was already inside of a cube.
Yeah, so the only thing on this screen on the left there's a like laser receptacle. Did you have to twist that just because it wasn't visible on the one surface?
Yes, yes, you just couldn't see it when it was pointing the actual right direction, like up. You wouldn't be able to see it with this camera view, and I noticed it like 1 hour before deadline or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was gonna say if you'd had more time, then I think you probably could have done something where like the anything that has like a laser receptacle on top also has like something that extends to the top of the cube.
Yeah, of course. I could do that, but
No
yeah, it
time.
was really no time. Like it is probably my biggest issue with my own game this year is that, and this is kind of an advice for other people too.
Mhm.
Uh, I didn't make stuff clear for a person who is not developing the game from the very beginning, like from the prototype or something like that. The arrows on these retargeters of lasers
Yeah.
came very late. So I wasn't even able to post the build to somebody to playtest because they would have no idea what they are looking at.
Mhm.
But I knew, so it seemed like it's not a problem. Okay, okay, I will add it. I will add it later. No problem, I will add it later. 2 hours till the end, and quickly like, oh, arrow this, arrow that, hard coded arrows on everything that you see. So yeah, it was a mess. And really, if I can say one thing, it would be whenever you are making the prototypes, the placeholders, whatever, uh, make it so that everybody can understand what the placeholder stands for. Don't just go with empty cubes that have functionalities like I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to avoid, like, unless you are working with a team and you can get somebody to implement some kind of a mock-up. Like, we were lucky in that the very, like, simple foundation of our game, I started working on the levels on Sunday, or the level, because in our case, it's just singular. And I was able to get a few people to try it, so I was able to get some feedback that helped in making a few small corrections before the end of the jam. But that was only possible because we had a dedicated artist and a programmer working on things separately from me so that I could just focus on the level design. Whereas if you're doing everything by yourself, then you kind of just have to. Like, overall, I don't think the design is an issue. I think that you, like, the puzzles here are really like neat and clever, and you feel smart when you figure it out. Like, it does take a bit of a leap in logic to kind of intuit the mechanic that you're describing as being missing. Like if you can figure that out, you feel super smart and it feels really clever. Um, so, would it have been nice if you had that in there from the start? I mean, yeah, like it definitely would, but it's also, I think at least it's totally playable without that.
Well, it is playable, of course, but I believe that if I could go back in time and change just one thing, I would change exactly this, like make it more clear.
Mm-hmm.
Because I made a game around an idea, I knew what the idea is, so I had no problem understanding it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not selling the idea that well. Or like somebody on the chat said, like it could be resolved with a cutscene. Of course, there was supposed to be a cutscene after the tutorial levels where you would actually see the shrinking and so on. And I have implemented cutscenes in gem games before, both in 72 hours and 48 hours. I have no idea what happened.
Mm-hmm.
96 hours, too little time all of a sudden. Probably because of the problems at the beginning where I just couldn't think about a good idea. So I am really happy with how it's turned out, like you said, design-wise. But I feel like the game doesn't sell the design. It doesn't do justice to how clever the design might actually be.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't come on stream and criticize my own game. Sorry for
No, I
that.
mean, I think that's totally like fair and a normal thing to have that feeling of like what your expectations were for this game, so you can why you are or are not happy with the way it turned out. But I think that is what I am going to reflect to you is the fact that you are the only person who knows that necessarily. Um, like no one else necessarily knows what the vision for your own game was, and what you did or didn't have time to include. Like people might make speculation or recommendation, like, "Oh, I see you were trying to make this. I think it would be nice if this level was a little easier, or this boss was a little harder, or whatever." But ultimately, like you are the one creating the experience. You know what it is or isn't supposed to measure up to.
Yeah, but really, I'm first time for the first time I actually made a note right after the jam. Oh yeah, you can still play. The
Yeah.
game is not paused.
We.
Uh, I made notes to myself for the very first time, like right after the jam, and the first thing that I noted is like make the game clear for the player,
Mhm.
understandable from the very beginning, from the prototype placeholder part and so on. Like even when you played, you said, "Oh, I can't move those." Like the game doesn't tell you why you can't. You can't because I coded them this way
Mhm.
because I was supposed to add some visual representation that they are for some reason like buried in the ground or something, because I needed them mechanically to not move in this specific puzzle. Which is a funny puzzle, by the way, because there are multiple ways of solving
Mhm.
it, and one of the ways is much easier and doesn't use the not moving parts at all. And I didn't discover this way until playing it after the deadline. So
That's funny. And by the way, how robust is this undo mechanic? Like how far back can I just keep on hitting backspace?
to the very beginning of the game.
Oh wow. How's that work?
Whenever you move, uh, there is a call to a function that is called store move, and it
Hmm.
stores your location if you pushed a block, and if you pushed it, it also stores the location of the block.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's just an array of those things.
Hmm.
And you have a small integer always attached to your character that says we are now on move this. And when you
Hmm.
press backspace, you like recover to the previous point in the array and erase it, and you can just go back as far as you want.
Oh, yeah. So do you know roughly like how many moves it takes to complete this game?
Oh, I have no idea. I could check it probably, but yeah, no idea. Also, there are different ways to solve some puzzles.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Here we go. I hit undo until I got back to the beginning of the game.
yeah, I'm very happy that this worked. I didn't test it that well, but yeah, the system was rather uh, straightforward, so it shouldn't break at any point. And it can work this way because it stores just the location, and this kind of spoils that this is all one continuous level.
Hmm.
There is no like moving between levels, even though it might look like you just are switching cameras on
Hmm.
a single scene.
Yeah. Which again, for the purposes of a jam, I think it's a really good implementation. Like, so even when you are going inside of a cube, you are actually just jumping somewhere else in the same level, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, which again, like that just it makes sense that that's the way that you would have to implement something like that, because otherwise it would be way more complicated. And that complexity might get you something else in terms of functionality, but I think that the amount of effort it would take and what you get back from it is not necessarily it's not necessarily worth what you would have to invest into it. So
yeah. Well, thinking about it, I might after we will be done, I will do a screenshot of the in-engine look where everything is,
oh
and I will
yeah.
post it to the Discord, so you will be able, and others will be able to see that it's all just one big scene with things floating around. And actually, the retargeters are
Hmm.
using the same mechanic as the cubes that you can enter,
Yeah.
but you have it just blocked, so you can't enter them. But they have like, if you have a retargeter like the one on the screen right now, it has the portal to the north and portal to the west, like facing each other, and the beam just goes straight from one portal to another, which creates the effect that you just retargeted the laser.
That's funny. I mean, again, it makes sense that like just everything is relying on the same systems, but yeah. Um, so, was there any specific inspiration behind this game, or was it just like Sokoban style puzzles? Like, how did you get the idea for sort of like entering and exiting of things?
Entering and exiting is from Patrick's Parabox,
Hmm.
uh, which I thought that there would be a lot of games copying this one because it would fit the theme pretty well. Uh, the laser thing, sorry, the lasers come almost straight from Talos Principle,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and actual idea started from a game that I don't remember the name of because I just saw it on YouTube while looking for stuff. But it's a puzzle game that has only one like cube with six sides that you turn, and you can see different things on each side. So I thought, hey, I can also do that, like stuff inside of a cube. Let's go with that. It turned out that I did kind of, but I didn't show it visually like the game that inspired it. But I
Okay.
don't remember the name. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's all right. Let me see if I can switch off. Oh yeah, do Alt Tab because I'm gonna turn off RTX voice. So people can hear the purring. Uh, I always forget how to do this in properties. Ow, she bit me. I don't know if you can see that on the webcam, but
Yeah, we can see it, I think.
I just don't know if you could. I don't know if you saw her biting me, but oh, she's walking away. Oh well, she might come back. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that it's it's a really nice synthesis that like fits the theme really well. I'm sorry that you didn't have more of an opportunity to sort of showcase with some of these like polished details that might have made it a little more obvious as to how it's working. But again, I do think that it is. Oh, she's behind my monitor. She might start moving the webcam. Come back this way, baby. Oops, that was my fault. Yeah, I don't have a dedicated cat camera. I just need to start bumping the webcam down. But yeah, so in terms of like, how did you actually go about creating the puzzles? Did you just sort of keep building out from a central idea, or did you sketch something out on paper first? Like, how did you actually go about that?
Uh, well, the first puzzle that was implemented is actually the last one.
Mm-hmm.
It, of course, went through some changes once the previous puzzles were implemented to fit better with the overall game. But I started by designing a puzzle inspired directly by Talos Principle with the lasers.
Mm-hmm.
And decided that yes, this is the core. This is what I want to show you. This is what the player should play, and then what should I teach the player before he gets to this point?
Mm-hmm.
And this is basically how it worked. And the Sokoban elements are very much inspired, not to say copied, from just Sokoban games that I could find. Like I took a puzzle from another Sokoban game and thought, okay, how can I add retargeters to that? And like maybe because, for example, this puzzle that was just on screen right now, you can solve it in a classic Sokoban fashion, or you can solve it just like you did by exiting and entering back from another direction. So I thought, well, that's great. You can either, if you want, you can solve it in the classic way, or you can use the mechanics that I'm giving you. So this is how puzzle came to be.
Yeah, I do think that's I appreciate having both solutions because I am not necessarily super practiced at Sokoban style games, so I wouldn't necessarily know. I'm still getting this puzzle wrong, even though I've solved it like multiple times.
No, don't worry. I do too.
Because it's a lot of like moves that you're sort of going back and forth on. It seems redundant, but it is well, as far as I can tell, is the only way to do it. It's just kind of like making loops and making small progress.
Yeah, and also it at some points it because you can exit and enter, it breaks the Sokoban style. I think in a neat way that like is the wrong cube. I think that it just breaks the pacing a little bit. Like I didn't want it to be just another block pushing game, although I wanted it once the idea came to be a block pushing game, but not just another like Sokoban clone.
Yeah. So what would you say is the most difficult problem that you encountered during the jam?
Fitting the theme would count.
Well, okay, but that aside.
Okay, should it be a problem that I was able to like work through, or because I talked about the biggest problem already, like showing what's inside of the cube was pretty difficult, and it didn't make it to the game.
So I would say then, what is the most difficult problem that you and you know what, like even that, now that you've had some time and a sort of like post jam sense, what approach do you think you might take? Like, would you want the cubes to be like miniature 3D models on the inside, or have like how would you want it to look?
like I can tell you how I tried to do it,
Yeah.
and I believe this would be the way, but I just didn't have the technical skill for it. So, in general, as the game is made in Unreal, it's pretty easy with what's packed with Unreal to do, like portal stuff, anti-chamber stuff, that you see another world through flat wall or something like that. So the portal is flat, but you can see 3D world inside of it. It's super easy to do that. It's super like GPU heavy, but you can do that with minimal effort, and for a jam it would look great. The problem is that it works great for a first person camera. When I have a top down game where the camera doesn't move but the object moves, I had all of the insides of the cubes very zoomed in, so you didn't see actually anything. Or when I finally did it in a way that it wasn't zoomed in, it was flipped to the other side. So it was very hard to do it in 3D. So then I said, okay, let's do it 2D. Like, just put a camera view on a flat plane, put it inside of the cube, add some effects, make it seem a little bit 3D. And this is what I wanted to go for. But as I said, I had it working, but it was obvious that it's just a flat plane and not a real world inside. So if I could go back in time, it would take me like 1 or 2 hours right now to put the plane on top and close all of the walls, add some fake perspective to it, and it wouldn't look like I wanted it to look, but it would look good enough for a jump game, in my opinion.
Right.
So I'm capable of achieving the effect that I want to some extent, to an extent that a player would understand it. Maybe they wouldn't say, "Oh, this is a technical masterpiece," but they would understand what's happening.
I mean, I think that makes sense. Like, I guess the sort of ideal way to convey an effect like this is to actually use like little LOD models that have highly simplified geometry that show up inside of a cube so that you can see what's inside it, and you are actually just rendering that in space. You don't have to actually use any camera trickery. You just have a separate model for that.
Yeah, I thought about it too, like to make small versions of the levels. But then I thought to myself, okay, but right now I have like the levels without any decoration, so I can make it. But then when I will decorate the levels, and I will do it on last day, I'm not lying to myself, decoration comes last day, it won't fit anymore. And also with that approach, I wasn't really sure how I would do the laser. Because with the camera tricks, you would see a small laser going through one side to the other, just because you were actually looking at what you would enter. So if you would, I had moments in which I had the level that the camera view was looking at right next to the cube, so I could see the player character moving inside of the cube. So it was much easier, although I don't know how GPUs would handle like 5 cubes that would render their views at all times. Maybe there would be some burning, but
Minimum requirements for this jam game: 4090.
yeah, no, I'm designing on, I'm working on a 3060, so, and it wasn't crashing with
Even then.
3 cameras, I think. So maybe the minimal requirements wouldn't have to be so high. But yes, it would be demanding for sure.
Okay. Well, I guess the question then is, do you want to go back and make any of those changes for a post jam version?
No, I think not. It, a jam game is a jam game for me.
Okay, yeah, that's totally fair. Well, if anyone has any questions from chat, they should ask them now. But otherwise, is there anything else you want to mention or talk about with the game?
Mm, well, I don't think there's much to talk about the game anymore. I believe we talked a lot about it, but uh, I will try to play some games later. So if anybody will be in needs of ratings or something like that, they can just join your Discord and drop the game, and I will try.
Yeah, that's
And
really nice.
because the game is download only, I will also ask for the same
I think that's fair.
because
Like, how are you doing, by the way, in terms of ratings?
it's like at 7 right now, and I believe the median right now is 11. So
Hmm.
not that great, but I didn't do any promotion yet. So
Hmm.
yeah, it will be okay. We will manage to do that, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, I do see it says rated by 7 people so far. Okay. Well, folks, if you can lend a hand, there's the link to the game. Please do. I will, of course, rate it myself, but that'll be after the stream. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Is there any like obviously I'll put a link to your itch.io page, but is there anything else that you'd like to link to?
No, I only have each. I actually made a Twitter account for this jam because I thought that maybe I will market there, but
Mhm.
I didn't do anything there. So my my Twitter is completely dead. I'm just followed by some bots. Uh, so there is nothing there. Yeah,
Okay. Well, that's fine.
and and I will be probably going back to jamming for this solo developer game
Oh,
jam.
okay. Well, I wish you the
Yeah.
best of luck with that as well. I guess that's going to be starting like any moment now, right?
I think it started already, but
Okay.
I'm taking an approach like much more civil than what was for the GMTK, where it was non-stop action, like sleep. I actually slept like 8 hours almost every day, so it wasn't
All
that
right.
bad. But apart from sleeping 8 hours, there was nothing healthy about my approach to the jam. It was non-stop
Uh,
in front of the PC.
okay. Well, I hope this next one goes better, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you make.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a fun game. Like I really thought this was the puzzles felt like just the right level of difficulty in terms of like satisfying to solve, but not like so tricky that I was getting stuck at any point. It just took a little bit of iteration. So yeah, I think it turned out great. All right. And with that, I wish you the best of luck and yeah, we'll talk again soon.
Thank you.
Bye
See
bye.
ya.